what the fuck?
Oh, stop it! Herbert! Oh, stop! Oh, my God.
I feel like this game was a good representation of the debate about roster construction. The Buccaneers drafted Graham Barton, who is playing center for them, and they put up 200 and something yards rushing. They also got Bucky Irving, who was out of Oregon. He is a smaller running back, but he had about over 7 yards per carry rushing. Conversely, we didn't trade down. We got Joel, who's a tackle, but we have Bozeman at center and Pipkins at guard, and it seems like we got very much exposed in the middle of our offense as a result of that. And not only that, Zion got injured as a result of Pipkins missing his block, and I'll show you that clip later. But it was interesting, kind of the comment Justin Herbert made about having a very important game coming up Thursday. It's almost as if they were kind of overlooking the Bucs. And Bucs have Baker Mayfield, who gets paid per year about 33, and Justin Herbert gets paid about 52 per year. Justin Herbert didn't play very well, and Baker Mayfield just diced up our defense, who has been allowing about 13 points per game, and he put up 40 on us in this game. So it's just interesting. And I think they have a pretty good strong offensive line, and as a result of that, our defensive line was not able to apply a whole lot of pressure, and as a result of that, it put a lot of pressure on our defensive backs, where we're kind of not terribly strong, I believe. And not to mention the game plan coming in. I mean, it just didn't seem like the scheme didn't seem terribly great. They get away from kind of plays that have worked. I mean, not a single hitch pass that worked pretty well against the Chiefs. They continue to use Darius Davis on jet motion. Our tight ends are either they block, they can't catch. Run blocking is not terribly great to boot, or they're like Stone Smart, where he's good in the passing game, can catch well, can't block. And there's a clip of that I'll show you in a second. So, and this is where, like, good coordinators, this is the difference between being a great coordinator and being a just mediocre coordinator, is that you have to fit your square peg game plan into the circle of a hole that is your personnel, and it just doesn't fit. Whereas good coordinators, when you can't jam it down your throat, then you need to be able to jelly. And that's the difference between jam and jelly. You can't jelly my dick up your ass. You can jelly it down your throat. So that's the difference between jam and jelly. So now, luckily, in our benefit, Colts lost, so they're sitting at 6-8. We're at 8-6. Broncos won their game, so they're at 9-5. If we beat the Broncos, we're sitting at 9-6. They'll be 9-6, and then we'll have head-to-head. But if we lose the Broncos, we will be 8-7. They'll be 10-5. And if the Colts win, they'll be 7-8 and a game back. Then we got Patriots and Raiders are always tough at home. They should have beat the Chiefs, so. But going to the game, on this first clip, you see we do like a zone right play action, and Pipkins kind of gets stuck between two guys. He doesn't really block anybody. Looks like Zion steps on Bozeman, and Pipkins kind of hits his guy and lets him go, and then he's the one that applies the pressure.
And pushes him back. Right into the side. I don't know.
On this run play, this guy shoots down, he squeezes it, and Matlock is trying to kick him out, but he's way too tight, and so Gus has to bounce it out. And it ends up being a decent run, but, just goes to show you that we don't have the blocking tight ends that we need to run this run game. And then on this play, Herbert is not getting any pressure, and he just checks it down and ends up in an incomplete pass. That was the 1st and 10. So then we have 2nd and 10. We try running a gap scheme run, pull Pipkins, and then I don't know if he's supposed to block the linebacker, but he doesn't block him, and he's the one that makes the tackle. So here we run like a double out route, and Herbert just sells his ball, completely uncatchable. Really not much there, but Bozeman kind of is not able to stay with his block, and he gets a little bit of pressure. I mean, not much. That's probably why he had to throw it away. Next play is a 3rd and 8. Matlock lifts his block top, and Herbert is able to get it off on a post corner for a long gain. Here's another play action. They blitz through the A gap. I don't know whose person that's supposed to be, but looks like it should have been Sawyer, because Slater's not blocking anybody. And then Herbert gets sacked for, it was like 10 yards.
They started double team Vea. And the run through backer.
Then we get a false start. I think it was Slater was not lined up on the line. So it's a 3rd and 35 or 25. Try to do a screen, and Zion can't get off his block. And as a result of that, he gets in the way. And then Kamani can't get through. And then by that time, the linebacker sniffs it out. Again, no one's picking up. Decent run. This is a 3rd and 35 and we just run it. So we settle for a field goal. Here's a pass that was kind of thrown behind. Stone Smart gets blocked. Luckily, we get a PI on that play. There's another gap run, just nowhere to go. Matlock can't hold his block. This guy ends up making a tackle. Zion can't hold his block either. We have to get a 2-on-1 on D tackle, and we can't drive him off at all. Here's a 2nd and 5. Herbert gets sacked. They just put a ton of pressure on interior O-line. They get driven back. Stone Smart does a poor job chipping on the outside. He kind of just like completely lets him go. I mean, there's really no point in having him block if he's just going to do that kind of effort. Herbert doesn't step up, or he steps up too late. And by the time he tries to, he's getting sacked. There's another 2nd and 7. Herbert is late getting this ball off. Should be thrown way earlier. And as a result, the guy's able to come down and make a tackle. Only results in 3 yards. So now it's a 3rd and 4. Herbert sells the ball high. Stone Smart can't catch it, and that drive ends up short. 1st and 10, Herbert gets sacked. They blitz, ton of pressure. Pipkins, once again, doesn't really block anybody. Here's another blitz. It's a 5-man blitz. They're able to get pressure. Monty's expecting that guy to come to the outside, but he goes underneath. Slater is expecting help underneath, but Zion's kind of late getting there. Bozeman's not sure who to block. And then Herbert should be putting more air on this ball so QJ can run underneath it.
Well, Quentin Johnson's just going to take off across the field. He thought he was going to get the ball earlier and turns on the jet, but not quite enough.
And then on a 4th and 8, Herbert throws this quick slant. But, I mean, I feel like he should be throwing this as soon as he's turning because he throws it kind of late. And by that time, he has 3 guys on him. There's no way he's going to get that first down. But he has time to throw the out route to Palmer. Either that or he could have thrown the next guy over. I don't know who that is. McConkey. It's not a good game for Herbert. Not a good play called game either, I thought. And it's another second half stinker. Just kind of been stereotypical of our offense the entire season. And so now we're kind of fighting for we're fighting for the 6th seed, which doesn't really make a difference. If we get 7th seed, if we get the 6th seed, then we play Steelers. That would be a better situation because then we would advance opposite bracket of 1st seed, probably looking like it might be the Chiefs. Then we'd probably face Bills. If we get the 7th seed, then we'll probably face the Bills earlier. I feel like at that point, it's like what's really the difference between 6th or 7th seed? I mean, eventually you're going to have to play the Bills. So not only that, if you do advance, you get a later draft pick. So really, I think at this point, the better situation is to get the 7th seed, get rested, and then play the Bills. That's assuming we make the playoffs because right now, the way we're playing, I don't think we are playing any better than the Broncos are, despite them having a rookie quarterback and our old offensive coordinator. And if Broncos get the 6th seed, that means they'll play the Steelers. And if they beat the Steelers, that means we would face them in the event we beat them. So eventually, it's very possible we would have to play them and beat them again anyways.
Did the Colts toy with their fans today as we look at the final 2 wildcard spots in the AFC? Look at this. If the Colts had won that game in Denver, they would have had almost a 75% chance of making the playoffs. Instead, they lose all the way down to 15%. The Broncos now in great shape. They could clinch a playoff berth next week, possibly here. And so it comes down to this. The Chargers now in that 7th and final spot with that loss today. Colts, that 15% chance. Here's basically what it would take for the Colts if they're going to get in now. They have the easiest schedule in the league to finish things out. Could they get to 9-8? Then they would need the Chargers to lose probably to the Broncos this coming week. And then one of their final 2 games, the final 2 games for the Chargers, it's the Raiders and the Patriots. Unless they're losing one of those, not a chance here for the Colts.
We got a very important game coming up on Thursday, and we have to be at our best for it.
We didn't play well enough. We didn't coach well enough. I mean, it was pretty thorough.
Why do you think your offense hasn't been able to put together a complete performance this season?
I'm really not going to speculate on that right now. As I said, I just all phases. It wasn't good enough today. I put that on the coaching, on us all. I mean, we're all owning it.